The most common complaint about our show over the 5.5 years it has been running is the religious conundrum, and how I have presented information and then asked the listener, does this make sense? And with our more common meme now of, if it doesn't make sense, then it is a program. And many of you have seen that now. But I was delving into the past archives for research for another show coming up soon. And it revealed a few separate pieces that all ties in together and is in part connected to Tuesday's show and also a future show as well. Most people regale at incest, yet it is mentioned 48 times in God's book. Religious people regale at homosexuality, yet didn't Jesus and or God say that we must love all people the same? Again, it's all very contradictory, is it not? Why does God's book tell you to fear him 84 times? When many people believe the Lord is God and he loves them and is the all-nice entity who does no wrong. Yet the book tells you to fear the Lord 186 times. Is that not a control system? Do you think God or the Lord should be making you fear him? God and the Lord is love, we are told, which is a higher vibrational frequency. Yet it is mentioned 270 times in his book to fear him or them, which is a low vibrational frequency. Is that conducive to growth? And since when is the fear emotion been all about love? But people can criticize me all you like on my opinion and knowledge over religion. But on your next trip to your psychologist or doctor, please tell him or her you've just spoken to a snake. You watched the bush go on fire and talk to you. You parted the Mississippi whilst walking across it. That marrying and sleeping with your sister and mother is okay. And then you threw your only children out of the house because they ate an apple. Whilst talking to a man who sits on a cloud, spying on everyone, that makes the CIA and NSA look like Fisher-Price spy kit sets. Oh, and all people who are not Jewish are shit under the shoe, and let's see where that gets you. Now that may sound humorous to some, and it does to me in some cases, but it's actually very sad. And those books, fake gods and the various religions have been the cause of billions of deaths and much suffering on this planet, which people who participate in that program appear to be oblivious to. So what is religion? Religion was an experiment by the gods to see how far people would externalize everything about themselves when everything needed was within. But let's look at it rationally. Neither God, Jesus, Allah, Kalima, Baphomets, devils, the Lord, etc. Not one of them wrote a book. Every single book was written by the control system and their minions, none of which, if you take away your blind faith, and it's called that for a reason, makes any sense whatsoever. And these are the questions people must ask themselves. I know it's all encompassing and an easy path to look for everything outside of yourself. But external is devolution. Your answers, truth, love, evolution, and source all lie within. Just as the real God or source intended. In Genesis 11, part 6, and the Lord said, if they have begun to do this as one people, speaking the same language, then nothing they devise will be beyond them. Part 7. Come, let us go down. Us? I thought the Lord was singular. And we will confuse their language, so that they will not understand one another's speech. 8. So the Lord scattered them from there over the face of all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That was the Tower of Babel. Or this: the Lord will bring a nation from afar, from the ends of the earth, to swoop down upon you like an eagle. Black eagle. A nation whose language you will not understand, it said. Hebrew and Latin are the languages you will not understand, and they are linked for a reason. Now, most will have misinterpreted that, which is understandable. But what this is saying is, they will swoop with the phoenix, not with a country, as people assume nation means, because the reference to a nation being a country was not introduced until 1864. A nation means a race, tribe, or species with a differing language. You want ET disclosure? It's right there in that sentence. A language you don't understand means it came from somewhere else, not Earth. That language was Latin. That rules law. Which religion is known as the religion of law? Judaism, which I know is connected to the Draco and subsequently the Anunnaki. COVID, spelled backwards, is the Hebrewic Divok, as we have mentioned previously. But the significance of the name Divok, which means possession of a malicious soul and is of Hebrew beginning. And Divok implies in Latin separate, divide, disturb, partition, tear away, open, separated, destroy in two, the number 2. The Great Divide and Conquer program. Destroy in two is the vaxxed and the unvaxxed. Are you getting it now? But Divok signifies ownership of a malevolent soul and is of Hebrew beginning. And yet we are told that the Jewish people are taught to not believe in the spirits, ghosts or ghouls, depending on your preference of the use of that word. And the only religion that doesn't believe in that reality. Now remember, all demons, jinns or spirits, whichever you choose to call them, are all non-physical entities. They can't eat food like those in the physical realm and only consume life force energy off others, and can only become physical if called in. And they then subsequently enter a physical vessel, and at that point the person you knew inhabiting the vessel officially no longer exists. You will still see the external aspect of facial features and body types, but the real aspect of that person is gone. And they are substituted with a dark entity presence with varying degrees of external projection, but they are very subtle in most cases, as they wish to hold on to that vessel undetected. Now, as I understand it, the souls in here that inhabit the vessel's energy is way beyond other species, and is so considered a must-have vessel. So what were the conditions and modes of operation for these walk-ins to arrive in such vast numbers? This is something I put out a while ago, but it's prevalent again now, and so I will repeat it. Here are some of the examples. 1. Alcohol. They call it spirits for a reason. Genie is a modern term for gin. And who comes out of the bottle when it's rubbed? The genie or the jinn, which grants you 3 wishes. It is not wishes, it is magic, which they perform, only you pay the price of soul possession in most cases. 2. Drugs, pot or other psychedelics. The Greek original meaning of that is breathe, life and soul. Soul being the operative word. Psyche being of the mind. Delix comes from the term delos, which means manifestation. So you have manifested something in your mind. The origin from the spirit realm, aka the astral. And I can hear many now going, no, no, no. But I'm sorry, this is exactly what those drugs do, and people wonder why the people who take them change. Think about it. They have changed because in many cases it's not them anymore. Now they say pot in particular expands your consciousness. Oh, the excuses. But have you considered it is not your consciousness that has expanded? It is you and the inhabiting entity that has expanded. And many will still say, no, or bullshit. I'm sorry, but they are the facts. 3. Mushrooms. They call it magic mushrooms for a reason, and all magic comes with a price. 4. Ayahuasca and other derivatives, described as hallucinogenic. Or is it hallucinogeny? Again, it calls in the spirits, all done by so-called shamans. Is it a shaman? Or does it really mean Shah-man? Shah means time or era, so they are time men. Just not our time, but theirs. And the South Americans and many other tribal people were tricked into these ceremonies by the rogue ET groups here to engage a covenant or contract that they had with the demons or jinns here, whereby they do their magic and dirty deeds, which comes with no karma as they have no physical form, and the jinns get to inhabit vessels and also consume life force energy both in here and also the astral realm. Most of the ancient tribes, in fact all, were taught the Kali Ma, the Dark Mother worship, which spread right through most, if not all, early tribal groups here on this planet. They were also taught sacrifice ceremonies as well, all under the auspices of worshipping the gods, and in particular the Kali Ma. And as a link to this and a Solomon story, the tribe who collected the treasures Solomon acquired, with demons I might add, left for Africa and then proceeded east, stayed in what is now called Solomon Island, Polynesia and Samoa, and then went and resided permanently in New Zealand, known as the Maoris. It was this group that signed a 16,500 year agreement with the Draco that put this planet under martial law, and they took the offer from the Draco in return for weaponry to fight a tribal war that they were losing, and with the new weaponry they won out, but we all lost. Now, it's the same tribe with the trust that initiated the start of the peace treaty, which was completed in August 2016 as well. But perhaps the Maoris were infected by the demons contained within the treasures of Solomon. 5. Tribal-based ceremonies involving circles, rhythmic beats to bring in their ancestors, except it wasn't their ancestors they were bringing in. 6. Witchcraft, druidism and paganism, all involved in bringing in the demons, jinns or dark spirits. Female witches congregated in a circle, often with a pentagram, which is on Solomon's ring, and called in the spirits. The circle they create is the portal, or the gateway to call them in, whilst the witches stand on the edge of the circle, all connected to each other by hand, to bind the circle and open the portal. And people may tell you they are light witches and fully believe it, but in reality land, you have all been fooled and seduced by the dark. Fact. 7. Then they got people praying to the Lord, who is Anu, the Draco reptile king, which is an energy harvester, which again feeds these very entities, all part of the pact they made with the demons. All external praying is harvesting your energy. You are not praying, you are being preyed upon. 8. Mediums and channelers also call in the spirits, but they have no idea who or what they are calling in either. 9. Alchemists who created potions that again, depending on what was mixed, called on the spirits to manifest, but they only manifest into another body. Magic potions, or is it magi potions? Like the earlier genic, when removing the C, becomes genai, as in jinn. Magic without the C is magi. And the most famous magi is Sinbad, who is the owner of 7 jinns, the genie in the bottle, like alcohol is. And yes, that includes kombucha. An Arabic term, al-kahul, was the origin of alcohol. Al means God, kahul means ghoul, which means spirit. So it means the spirit god. And in the 17th century, alcohol was then described as a distilled and rectified spirit. And the description of rectified spirit is rectified spirit, also known as neutral spirits, rectified alcohol, or ethyl alcohol, ethanol, of agricultural origin, is highly concentrated ethanol. I wonder whether adding ethanol to our gas is another way to infect us. Ethanol that is being purified by means of repeated distillation in a process called rectification. Rectification sounds more like, to me, rectum fictation. Now, in some countries, and the example was India, well, I never. Denatured alcohol or denatured rectified spirit may commonly be available as rectified spirit, but it is poisonous and ingestion can be fatal. Wine is a neutral spirit also. Do you still want to consume that amount of drinks? Ten. The Native Americans use a term wetiko for a different type of walk-in. And wetiko means solely for the self, but can only host on people who exhibit similar traits for greed, selfishness, and service to self and excess. Now, ironically, the person who brought the wetiko to my attention was inhabited by the same entity. Hello, Melody. 11. Then people began at a later date to sell their soul out for fame, wealth, and titles, oblivious to the real value of what they were giving away. Selling your soul is not metaphorical. It is a literal selling of your soul and life force. And this is why so many famous people look blank, vacant, act strange, appear aloof, never seem happy, life filled with drama to keep them and the walk-ins occupied, and it's all theatre and fakery. So, having perhaps not believed it was possible to replace that many people with walk-ins at the beginning of this piece, perhaps you might have reconsidered that possibility now, having absorbed that list, and also hopefully reconsider correcting some of your own lifestyle habits.